It was a case that haunted dreams, a case that whispered of unspeakable evil, the discovery of a child's remains, left abandoned in the woods. This is the story of a forgotten victim, a case gone cold. We revisit the chilling details, seeking answers in the shadows. Will justice ever be served? The year was 2015. A quiet rural community, shrouded in the stillness of early spring, was about to have its tranquility shattered. Deep within the woods, hidden amongst the undergrowth, a discovery was made that would send shockwaves through the town and beyond. It was a nightmare brought to life. A group of teenagers venturing off the beaten path stumbled upon a gruesome sight. Partially concealed by fallen leaves and branches lay the skeletal remains of a child. The discovery sent a chill down their spines. They knew instantly that something was terribly wrong. Panic surged through them as they raced back towards town, their minds struggling to process the horrifying image seared into their memories. They contacted the local authorities, their words tumbling over each other in a frenzy of fear and adrenaline. The sheriff's department, a group more accustomed to handling petty theft and domestic disputes, found themselves woefully unprepared for a crime scene of this magnitude. The news spread like wildfire, engulfing the small town in a blanket of fear and suspicion. Who was this child? How did they end up in the woods? And who was responsible for their death? The questions hung heavy in the air, unanswered and agonizing. The case, as chilling as it was, seemed destined to remain unsolved. That is, until a glimmer of hope emerged from the abyss of despair. A decade after the child's disappearance, a cryptic tip came in. A voice on the other end of the line, shrouded in anonymity, offered a single name. Could this be the break investigators had been desperately seeking? As the investigation unfolded, a horrifying truth began to emerge. The case was unlike any other the detectives had encountered. It was not just a crime, it was a mystery that seemed to deepen with every piece of evidence uncovered. The child, a young boy estimated to be between the ages of 4 and 6, had been the victim of unimaginable neglect and abuse. His small frame bore the scars of a life filled with pain and suffering, a life that no child should ever have to endure. Forensic analysis painted a grim picture of his short life. Each bone, each fragment, told a story of prolonged agony. The experts worked tirelessly, piecing together the puzzle of his existence, hoping to find some clue that would lead them to his identity. Malnutrition, evident in his frail bones, spoke volumes about the suffering he endured. The lack of proper nourishment had stunted his growth and weakened his body, making him even more vulnerable to the abuse he suffered. What made the case even more perplexing was the lack of a missing child report. Despite the extensive search through databases and records, there was no mention of a child matching his description. It was as if he had slipped through the cracks of society, unnoticed and unmissed. It was as if this young boy had existed in the shadows, unnoticed and unclaimed by anyone who should have cared. The places he might have called home were now silent witnesses to his tragic story. The abandoned house, the dark alleyway, and the desolate places where a child's laughter should have echoed were now haunting reminders of his lonely existence. The community was left grappling with a chilling thought. Could someone so young truly vanish without a trace, without anyone noticing their absence? The news reports and community vigils brought people together, but also highlighted the stark reality that this child had been invisible in life, and now in death. The neighbors, filled with concern and guilt, questioned how such a tragedy could happen in their midst without anyone realizing. The case became a somber reminder of the importance of vigilance and compassion, urging everyone to look closer, to care more, and to ensure that no child is ever forgotten again. Section 5. Whispers of Abuse. The tip that had reignited the investigation led detectives down a treacherous path. It was a path fraught with danger and uncertainty, one that would test their resolve and determination to uncover the truth. The detectives knew that every step they took could bring them closer to justice or plunge them deeper into the shadows of doubt. It pointed to a known abuser in the community, a man with a history of violence and a chilling disregard for human life. His criminal record was a litany of offenses, each more disturbing than the last. Assault, battery, and intimidation were just the tip of the iceberg. His presence in the community was a dark cloud that loomed over the lives of those who knew him. He had lived within a stone's throw of the woods where the child's remains were found, adding another layer of suspicion to the already unsettling narrative. The proximity of his residence to the crime scene was no mere coincidence. It was a chilling reminder of the evil that lurked just beyond the safety of home. The woods, once a place of childhood wonder, had become a haunting ground of unspeakable horror. Interviews with neighbors and acquaintances painted a disturbing picture of the suspect. They spoke of a man who was not only feared but also despised. His interactions with others were marked by hostility and aggression. The community's collective memory was scarred by his actions, and the fear he instilled was palpable. He was a recluse, prone to fits of rage, and known to have a volatile temper. His isolation only fueled the rumors and whispers that surrounded him. In the dark corners of his home, he harbored secrets that no one dared to uncover. His outbursts were unpredictable, and his anger was a force of nature that left destruction in its wake. Whispers of his past transgressions circulated through the town, but concrete evidence remained elusive. The townspeople spoke in hushed tones, their voices tinged with fear and uncertainty. They knew that the truth was out there, hidden beneath layers of lies and deceit. The detectives were determined to peel back those layers, to bring light to the darkness that had shrouded the town for far too long. The journey ahead was daunting, but they were resolute in their quest for justice. Section 6. A web of suspicions. As detectives delved deeper into the suspect's past, they uncovered a tangled web of connections and potential motives. The man had a history of preying on the vulnerable, exploiting their trust for his own twisted gratification. His victims, often too afraid to speak out, bore the scars of his abuse in silence. The investigation took on a renewed urgency. Could this be the same man responsible for the forgotten child's demise? The pieces of the puzzle seemed to align, but without concrete evidence, the case remained frustratingly out of reach. Section 7. 1,000 dead ends. Years turned into a decade, and still, the case remained unsolved. Over 1,000 leads were meticulously pursued, each one ending in a frustrating dead end. The weight of the unsolved case pressed heavily on the community, a constant reminder of the evil that had lurked in their midst. The passage of time did little to diminish the determination of the investigators assigned to the case. They clung to the belief that justice, though delayed, would one day be served. They refused to let the memory of the forgotten child fade into obscurity. Section 8. Living in fear's grip. The shadow of the unsolved case loomed large over the once peaceful town. Parents held their children a little tighter, their hearts heavy with the knowledge that a child predator might still walk free among them. The fear, palpable and pervasive, permeated every aspect of life in the community. The playground, once a symphony of laughter and joy, stood eerily quiet. The woods, once a place of wonder and exploration, became a sinister reminder of the horrors that lay hidden beneath their verdant canopy. Section 9. Demanding justice. Years later, the memory of the forgotten child continued to haunt the community. Activists, fueled by a thirst for justice, rallied together, demanding answers and accountability. They organized vigils, marches, and fundraisers, determined to keep the case alive in the public consciousness. The case, once relegated to the back pages of local newspapers, found renewed life on social media. Online communities dedicated to solving cold cases took up the mantle, poring over every detail, every clue, hoping to unearth the missing piece of the puzzle that would finally bring closure. Section 10. A glimmer of hope. As technology advanced, so too did the hope of finally solving the case. DNA analysis, once in its infancy, had made significant strides. Forensic scientists armed with cutting-edge techniques revisited the evidence, hoping to extract a viable DNA profile that could crack the case wide open. The community, weary but not defeated, clung to this glimmer of hope. Could this be the breakthrough they had been waiting for? Could technology finally provide the answers that had eluded them for so long? Section 11. Never giving up. The case of the forgotten child, a chilling reminder of the darkness that can lurk in the shadows, remains unsolved. This case, which has haunted the community for years, is a stark illustration of the challenges faced by those who seek justice for the voiceless. The streets where the child was last seen are now a somber testament to the unresolved mystery that continues to grip the hearts of many. But the fight for justice continues. Driven by the unwavering belief that every child deserves a voice, advocates and investigators remain dedicated to uncovering the truth. These tireless individuals, often working long hours and facing numerous obstacles, are fueled by a deep sense of duty and compassion. They gather evidence, re-examine old leads, and hold vigils to keep the memory of the forgotten child alive. Their determination is a beacon of hope, in a case that has seen more than its share of darkness. Through advancements in forensic technology, renewed public interest, and the tireless efforts of those who refuse to let this case fade into obscurity, there is hope that one day, the forgotten child will finally receive the justice they deserve. Modern forensic techniques such as DNA analysis and digital forensics offer new avenues for uncovering the truth. Public interest, often reignited by media coverage and community efforts, plays a crucial role in keeping the case alive. The dedication of law enforcement, scientists, and advocates is unwavering, as they work together to piece together the puzzle that has eluded them for so long. Until then, their memory serves as a poignant reminder of the importance of protecting the vulnerable and holding those who harm them accountable. The community's collective memory of the forgotten child is a powerful force, driving efforts to ensure that no other child suffers a similar fate. Memorials and vigils not only honor the lost but also serve as a call to action, urging society to remain vigilant and proactive in safeguarding its most vulnerable members. The story of the forgotten child is a testament to the resilience of the human spirit and the enduring quest for justice, no matter how long it takes.